welcome to the Grammaticus tutorial on word codes. Now today we're going to consider one of the more complicated types of verbal reasoning question that we come across, although it looks a lot more scary than it actually is. Now let's have a little look at the question and see what the question is asking us to do. It says, if the code for gate is HBUF, what is the code for path? So it's a little bit like we're almost a secret agent and we've got the word gate and we've made a secret code out of the letters we've got here to make the code that we've got here. And we've used the alphabet to produce that. Now, if we look at the word gate and then we look at the word path, we can see that we've got two letters that are the same in the middle. We've got AT in gate here as a second and third letter, and I've got AT here in the word path in exactly the same place. So that's going to be a really good clue for us to work out this code quite quickly, because I now know that the middle two letters, letters 2 and 3, are going to be B and U. Now underneath my question I've got 5 multiple choice answers, and if you're taking the Lincolnshire multiple choice verbal reasoning paper, you will have similarly 5 multiple choice answers. So I'm going to consider those, and I can see that I've got 2 that have got BU in the centre, the rest haven't, so I can get rid of the 3 that haven't got those in the middle. Now, how am I going to work out what that first letter is? Well, I can see that I've got the word path at the end of my sentence. So I'm going to be working out my code from the word to get the code. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write the word on top of the code. Now the way to remember which way to write these is to think, okay, what have I got at the end of the sentence? I've got a word, so therefore I've got to move the word from this pair on top of the code that I've got here. So I'm going to work down to work out what the code is going to be. So G to H, if I find G on my alphabet, I can see that I jump 1 forward to get to H. So I can go to P, and I'm going to do the same pattern this time. So I'm going to go jump 1 forward, which gets me to the letter Q. So I know that the first letter in my code is going to be a Q. Well, out of the 2 remaining options I've got QBUI and OBUI. So I know it's got to be QBUI because I've just worked that out. So I'm going to circle that answer. Now, if you're sitting in the Lincolnshire paper, you will have a multiple choice answer sheet, and it's very important that you remember to transfer your answers from your question paper onto your answer sheet. Now, once you've transferred it, cross out the question, but don't cross out the question until you have transferred it, and then it acts as a bit of a check to make sure that you've remembered to fill in the answer sheet. Okay, let's have a little look at question number 2. We've got, if EPOU is the code for bolt, what is the code for nuts? Well, you've probably noticed that you've got a T in bolt and you've got a T in nuts. But this time the T isn't in the same place. And unless the letters are in the same place, we can't use that first method that we used on the first question here. We've got to go to the second part of the method that we used. Now, if you remember, the method I told you to use is to have a little look at the word that you've got at the end. If it's a word, we're going to be moving the word. If it's a code, we're going to be moving the code. So we've got a word at the end of our sentence here, so we're going to move the word on top of the code. So I'm going to write bolt on top of my code here. And I'm going to work down B to E. Now, I'm always going to move the quickest way to get from B to E. I'm certainly not going to work my way backwards through the alphabet. I'm always going to take the shortest route to get there. And the shortest route is to go forward 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3 jumps forward. So I'm going to go to N and I'm going to do 3 jumps forward. 1, 2, 3, which gets me to the letter Q. Now I'm going to cross out my other options, and I'm actually going to take a quick look at the two words that I've got left. I've got QVTW and QVWT. Now, they're very similar. There's no point in me working out the second letter because they are identical. And in fact, I'm going to go to the final letter because I noticed that they're both different. We've got a T and we've got a W. I'm going to check that my code is 4 letters long and just check that it's the same as these two here. And I'm going to go to the fourth letter. Now the fourth letter is T, and I'm going to work out the jumps from T to U. So T to U is forward 1. So I'm going to go to S on the word that I'm trying to find the code for, and I'm going to go forward 1. Forward 1 gets me to the letter T, so I know that QVWT has to be my answer. I'm going to mark that on my answer sheet and then cross the question number out. Okay, let's have a little look at two more examples. If RCLR is the code for tent, what does NJSE mean? Now this question looks very different to this one. Instead of having to find the code for the word, we're going to have to try and find the word from the code. Now again, we're going to see what we've got written towards the end of the sentence. We've got a code. So this time, rather than moving the word on top of the code, we're going to move the code on top of the word. R, C, L, R. And we're going to work down in a similar way. R to T. R to T is forward 1, 2. So we're going to go to N and we're going to go forward 2. 1, 2. That gets me to the letter P. Now I can see that most of my answers here start with the letter P, but I can get rid of lamp. Now I'm going to consider the words I've got down here, and I can see that all of them have a different letter at the end of each word. We've got an L, a P, an S and a G. So I might as well just go to the fourth letter to work out what the word's going to be. So I'm going to go from R to T. R to T is 1, 2 forward, and then I'm going to go to E and I'm going to go 2 forward, 1, 2, which gets me to the letter G. Now remember, we're considering the fourth letter, and if we have a little look, we've got a G in plug, but we haven't got a G in any of the other words. So we can circle the word plug, mark it on our answer sheet, and then once it's marked on our answer sheet, cross out question 3. And finally, let's have a little look at this one. Well, again, if we read the question, if RQNU is the code for spot, what does SSZN mean? So again, we've got the code and we're trying to find out what the word is from that code. So I'm going to move my code here on top of spot, RQNU, so that we can form our word in the same way. So I'm going to go R to S. R to S is forward 1. And then I'm going to find what is one more on from S. So I've got S as my first letter of my code here, and I'm going to go 1 forward, which gets me to the letter T. So I can get rid of any words here that don't start with the letter T. Now here I've got 2 words that end with P, so I'm going straight to my fourth letter. I've got an M as my last letter here. All of them have got an R as a second letter, so there is little point to me trying to find that out. So I'm actually going to go to the third letter to see if I can work out the code from that. So N to O is forward 1. I'm going to go to my third letter again, Z, and I'm going to go forward 1. Now, if I go forward 1, I've got nothing there. Well, we've got to imagine that the alphabet is rolling continuously. So once we get to the end of Z, we're going to start again with A, B and C. It's continually rolling. And at this side, we've really got X, Y and Z because it's continually rolling along. So we're going to go to Z and we're going to go forward 1. So going forward 1 gets me to the letter A. So that's got rid of trip. Okay, so it's going to come down to this final letter. It's either going to be P or M. We're going to go have a little look at the code we've got here. U to T. U to T is back 1. So we're going to go to N and we're going to go back 1. N backwards 1 gets me to the letter M. So that tells me that it's going to be tram. So tram is our answer. I hope that's helped you with those type of questions, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.